All right. Um, so hopefully I'm speaking up loud enough. I was considering going live to talk about this. However, I don't want to be getting distracted, and I feel like um, I tend to get this like frozen feeling, especially when I see like all these people like, you know, signing on to see me live, on there. Um, and I really want to make sure that I'm like getting my point across um, without like writing it down, because I am practicing speaking. I would like to be a motivational speaker at some point, and I will be doing a lot more live videos. Um, but right now, I really feel like I just need to record this and try to get my point across as much as possible as I possibly can. So this morning, what happened is absolutely terrifying. The fact that that fast, that quickly, I could have relapsed and thrown all of my clean time away. Um, it's scary. It's scary because I have never accumulated this much amount of clean time in my entire life. And I have been battling with addiction, alcoholism, and substance abuse issues since I was 13 years old. 12 years old is when I started to use. I got sent to my first placement facility when I was 14 years old because I couldn't stop. At the age of 14, I couldn't stop. They told me that they were going to lock me up, and I still couldn't stop. And this morning, you know, I had no idea what I was reaching for when I was reaching in my closet. And I feel like I really need to clarify this, because when I went to go reach in my closet to grab whatever it was that was up there, it was a blanket. It was a sheet. So I had no idea what I was grabbing. And when I grabbed it and I brought it down and I had it in my hands and I unwrapped it, it was like a fucking, problem wrapped in a gift wrapping paper. Like I was opening some fucking Jack in the Box. Literally, that's what it felt like. Like I opened up a fucking Jack in the Box, the thing that you crank the thing and then it just boom pops out at you, right? So when I unwrapped this blanket, this sheet, that's when I realized what was inside of there. And by that time, it was already in my hands. So 2 years ago, when my ex and me started on this journey of getting clean, I had a terrible, awful night where I was, we had been up for days, tripping and partying, and we were fighting, and I was sitting in the living room doing whippets with the whippet canister, blasting my music and taking the whippets and whipping them at the wall, full force. I was talking about committing suicide. I was talking about putting a needle in my arm. I was talking about all this different stuff. I really hope that these people messaging does not mess this video up. And I'm sorry. That night when we were fighting, I was very serious. I wanted to kill myself, and I ended up waking up in the middle of the night with the idea that I was going to I had a plan. I'm not going to tell you what the plan was, because I'm not trying to put that out there into the universe for anyone else to think about if this is something that they're struggling with. But I woke up in the middle of the night out of my sleep, and I had this plan of how I was going to do it. And when I tried to talk to my ex about it, he basically rolled over on me. And sorry, I've got a cold. He rolled over on me and just completely ignored the fact that I was feeling the way that I was feeling, and I like fell off the side of the bed. I was hyperventilating, crying, and in that moment decided, because I had already quit drinking for a year now, but I was still using drugs, obviously, and I had decided that I think that we should quit using drugs. And it was a decision that I had made for the both of us. Now, granted, I had tried over and over and over again to quit using drugs, and I failed every single time. I could never make it to 30 days. And now I have 2 years in December, and I just almost relapsed on impulse. Not even with any desire to use, just because it was in my hands. And it doesn't matter how much clean time that we have. We are not, what is the word that I'm looking for? I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. Of course, I'm going to freeze up. It doesn't matter how much clean time we have. Like, we're never cured. If you suffer with addiction and alcoholism, like, this is something that you have to be contingent with. So like, my brain doesn't work like other people's brains, where they, can go out and have a drink or two and put it down and have a good night. Like, once I put any kind of substance into my body, I cannot stop, no matter how hard I try. And I have gotten to this point in my life where I have stopped for almost 2 years now. And in the blink of an eye, like that, on impulse, just from muscle memory of having it fall into my hands, I almost threw that clean time away. Now, I was speaking to someone in recovery today, and I had expressed how I think that if that was to have happened, that I would have come back into recovery with my tail in between my legs and said, I fucked up. It was an accident. It happened on impulse and started my clean date over again. However, when I really thought about it, I don't know that. I don't know that that is how I would have responded to the situation had I actually put the Whippet canister up to my lips and, you know, felt what it feels like. Because the way that my brain works, and I didn't understand this until I started in recovery and started on this journey that I'm on and started doing internal work to focus on this stuff and figure this stuff out and reading into these things, that my brain, I have what's called an allergy. And so I can obsess about something all day long. I can obsess about using all day long in recovery. And as long as I stay away from that first one and I don't put that first one into my body, I'm in the clear. I can obsess about it all day. Eventually the obsession will surpass. So I know that throughout recovery, there's been times where I was really struggling, and I knew that as long as I didn't put that first one into my body, I would not set off that physical craving, which is in my mind. My mind works differently than other people's brains, because once I set off that craving in my head, I cannot stop. And so who's to say that if I wouldn't have realized in that moment what I was doing before I did it this morning and dropped it, that I would not have set off that craving in my head? My thinking is messed up. Drugs and alcohol are a symptom of my problem. My problem is the way that I think, which is why I do all of this internal work and I do the things that I do on a regular basis, because I have to keep my thinking in check so I can keep myself from turning to that first one and setting off that craving. Who's to say that I wouldn't have seen that as an excuse to just completely say, well, there goes my, almost 2 years, and went out on some binge. Especially with the ways that I've been feeling over the past couple of months with everything happening with me and my ex-boyfriend splitting up. I could have found that as an excuse to go out and get completely fucked up, because now I fucked up. And that's just the way that my thinking works. Who's to say that I wouldn't have done that? And here's the thing. When I came into recovery and I decided to, because I had quit drinking for a year, but I was still going to raves and I was still using drugs and I was on the marijuana maintenance program and all that stuff, but I was fucking miserable because I was batshit crazy and I couldn't stop using, and I couldn't stand being alive. I couldn't stand being who I was, or living in my mind, or living my life, or anything. I was completely powerless and my life was unmanageable and I was miserable, and that's why I made the decision to fully give up every single drug in my life and start to work this process of recovery, because I was desperate and I like I said, I couldn't stop. And when I quit drinking and all of that, I was ready to die like all of the rest of my friends. All of the people who I've lost to this disease of addiction, my ex, my brother, my cousin, my friends, I had plans I had plans to take myself out, and my biggest fear is that if I was to go out again, that I might not make it back. That, you know, I might not have another recovery in me. Like I said before, I could never get to 30 days clean. And there was a couple times where on impulse I used, because it was there. It was in front of me. I was around people who were using, like just hanging out with them, you know, like, it was the one time when I almost had 30 days, and I was hanging out with these two guys that came over, and they were rolling, and, you know, somebody put some Molly down on the counter, and, you know, like, give me some time to think about whether or not I was gonna take it. And this guy, you know, he went to go grab for it, and before he could grab it, like a freaking lizard, I snatched it and put it in my mouth, and there went all my clean time. Just like that. And as it, you know, as it was, you know, in my mouth, it was like, well, there you go. And next thing, I was off to the races for like 7 years, all the way up until, you know, now. And I went through so much shit in that time period where I was suffering and I couldn't stop. You know, when I first got clean this time around, I had 1 day clean. And I really wanted to smoke, and I had called someone, but I had, you know, packed a bowl and I had it in my hands, and I was trying to get them to talk me out of it. And muscle memory, just from having it in my hand, I'm expecting this person to talk me out of it, and I hit it. And I was like, oh, well, that was fucking pointless. And the next day ended up being my clean date from here on out, which is December 17th, 2017. That I haven't touched or picked up anything since. You know, or used anything since, I should say, because drugs fell into my hands this morning, and I almost used them on impulse because I am an addict. I'm a recovering addict, and I need to stay contingent on my program. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I was sitting here today thinking of how close I was to setting off that craving in my head. And I have seen so many people come back to the rooms with their tails in between their legs saying, you know, I fucked up, I relapsed, and, you know, they get right back on the wagon. But my track record doesn't show that I do that, as far as I know. You know, I mean, I would love to say that I hope that I would jump right back into it and not, you know, but who's to say that that would be the case? Like, my thinking is messed up, and I can see myself justifying the fact that, oh, well, there went all my time that I've accumulated, like, might as well just go, you know. And there's so many people that I know in my life, or knew in my life, that were in recovery, that it was one and done. They relapsed one time and overdosed and died. The one time. One and done. It's not a game. It's not funny. I almost relapsed this morning on fucking impulse because it fell into my hands. Do I regret what happened? No, it was a wake-up call for me of how powerful this fucking disease is, that I have 2 years clean and I have no desire to use. And I'm happy today in my life. And I'm actually like making very successful moves in my life. And on impulse, I almost took drugs and used them because they were in my hands. And I felt what it would feel like for it to be being wasted or whatever. Like, I don't know if anybody else relates to that who is an addict or an alcoholic, but like, we don't waste shit. We don't waste it. You know? I never understood those people who have beers and set them down and leave half beers, because I could never do that. And so if you're out there, I don't know if anybody knows anybody who needs to hear this message, they feel they need to share this video out, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. You know, if you have relapsed, if you fucked up and you've used, let's say it was on impulse, or let's say like you felt like doing it, you know, we love you. I came so close today to using, and I don't even want to, and I still came so close. This disease, this thing that we're battling, is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and we need to always be on guard. And if you fucked up and you're out there and you messed up and you used, we love you. It's okay. Come back. Reach out to me. I can help to get you help. If you want help, I can help to get you help. We do recover. And we're in this together. Okay? You know, it doesn't matter how much clean time that we have. We are not immune to this fucking disease, this way of thinking. My brain literally almost made me act on something that is not a part of who I am anymore. And what happens if I would have set off that craving? Who knows? And it scares the shit out of me. I love my life today. I love recovery today. I love seeing that light go off in somebody's eyes. My primary purpose is to carry the message to the still suffering addict or alcoholic. My primary purpose in life is to carry the message. And if I'm out there using, I can't carry the message. If I take my own life, I can't carry the message. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to hear this battle, this story, the experience, the strength, the hope. How easy it can be to mess up. I almost fucked up this morning, man, and I don't know if I would have made it back. I don't know how I would have reacted to that. I'd like to say that I would have bounced back, but I don't really know that. I'm not going to underestimate my disease, because I know it's been in the background doing fucking push-ups and sit-ups and shit, and it wants me dead. And I'm supposed to be minding my language. I'm supposed to be minding my language because I'm really focusing on, paying attention to how I think, because my thoughts create how I feel and then in turn lead to actions and all of that stuff. But this is real life. This is fucking serious. This is life or death. This is life or death. It's not funny. It's not a game. People are fucking dying. And I almost relapsed today. And if you're out there and you have fucking relapsed and you're struggling, call me. Message me. Let's get you help. Let's get you to a fucking meeting. We don't do this alone. I can't believe what happened this morning. It scares the shit out of me that I could have that quickly thrown my whole life away. Like that. Without even thinking twice about it. Thank God I thought twice about it before the shit hit my lips. Because I don't know what would have happened after that. I had the opportunity to go to Thailand to continue on this journey to becoming a life coach and a mentor, which is ultimately what I'm trying to do in my life. And I have a lot of shit going on, so I decided not to go. And a big part of that also was that I haven't been going to meetings. I haven't been showing up for the still suffering alcoholic or addict. I haven't been showing up. And that's my primary purpose. My primary purpose is to show up because I have the solution. I have the solution. And so it's my responsibility to show up so that I can carry that solution and help the next person, because this shit ain't no fucking joke. It ain't a joke. This is life or death. And I want to be able to save someone's life in any fucking way that I possibly can. Excuse my language. And that's why my vision, everything that I'm trying to do in my life is so very important to me. So very important to me. Because we do recover. We do recover. And if you messed up and you messed up, it's okay. It's okay. Hang on one more day. We do this one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one thing at a time, and we do it together. And I love you. I love you. Whoever you are, you're struggling, you feel like you're alone, like nobody gets you, like you can't do it, like you can't stop, like you can't figure it out. I've been there. I know what that feels like. You are not alone. You're not alone. And there is a solution. And it's okay if we fuck up. Get back up. Get up. Get on the horse. Do not don't die. Live. Choose to live. Choose to fight for your life. Choose to fight for your life and know that you have people who love you and that you can do it. We can do it together. I love you guys so very much. And that's, all that I'm going to say about this topic. None of us, anyone who suffers from addiction or alcoholism, we are not immune to this disease. No matter how much clean time, sober time, whatever that we have to stay contingent on our recovery, and we have to show up and we have to do the work. And most importantly, we have to carry the message and show up for the person who needs to hear it, because that's ultimately how we stay clean and sober, is by helping each other. Okay, that's all I got. I love you guys, and I'll see you around. Thanks for listening. Bye. Love you.